Welcome to the NT600 6 horsepower electric outboard equivalent quick start video. This video is going to cover all the stuff you need to know to get set up and operational for your first outing on the water. You'll want to dial in the screen settings and install the critical components, but it's not that much. Let's dive into it and I'll show you how it's done. First step in the setup process with the NT600, I'm going to place this nylon bushing right on the bolt hole in the motor head. And I'm going to come in, place that nylock nut right in the nut capture in the bottom. And I'm going to kind of rest my shoulder here. Put the bolt down through this step bolt, right down through the bolt hole in the motor head and the bushing. I'm just going to tighten it by hand, and then this requires a 5mm Allen key to tighten it up all the way. I do like to slide the motor over and get it one last quarter turn or so that I know it's secure and tight. Once that's done, you want to connect the communication cable to the communication port in the motor head, and there's a little notch right in the bottom of the 4-hole pattern. Make sure that's aligned with the notch in the receiving end of the plug. Once you're engaged, you want to tighten that stainless collar all the way down until you feel it seat snugly. The next important step in the installation is to attach the cavitation plate at the appropriate height along the motor shaft. Ideally, you want this 1 to 2 inches below the line where the bottom of the hole meets the motor shaft, or 1 to 2 inches just subsurface. I'm going to trim the motor up a little bit to make the installation process just a little bit easier. You only need one tool for this, and that tool is going to be the same 5mm Allen key that you used to fix the tiller handle to the motor head. I'm just going to remove the screws from how they came in the package, and I'm going to loosely adjoin one of these Allen head screws to the front of the plate. So I'm going through the back, the long end of the cavitation plate, right in, and making sure I have that nylon bushing right under the screw head. And once I get this loosely fixed, I'll slide it into place. And I'll tighten it down evenly on both sides. So I'll go a couple turns and try to match the thread count between the two halves of the plate on each side. Verify that you've got plenty of clearance on the prop. The NT600 comes equipped with a center balanced carry handle, which is really handy if you're transporting the motor on and off the boat. But if it's a permanently installed motor, you can choose to remove this carry handle, which requires just a 6mm Allen key. One last step that I like to do, and this is pretty critical in my mind, before using the NT600 for the first time on the water, is to just ensure that the trim pin is on the second hole. I think that's the best starting point we've found from a performance standpoint and the most widely compatible trim bar setting. With the locked padlock icon facing the sky, the tiller handle will automatically lock into a straight down position for easy carrying, perfectly horizontal, or 45 above horizontal for stand-up steering operation. To accommodate either left-handed steering or right-handed steering preference, you're going to want to pull this knob up, begin to slide the tiller over to your desired position, and the spring-loaded action will pull the pin down into that preferred setting. Now I'm ready to power up the motor. One thing we've maintained with the NT600 is that this motor accepts deep cycle or lithium battery power. So you have flexible power options. The motor comes with a standard ring terminal connection to your regular 48-volt battery, and it actually uses an SB120 plug. It's a little bit larger than the plugs that you're used to seeing on the NK motors and the NT300. The NT600 tiller handle has real GPS integrated into the handle itself. To communicate directly with the 48-volt Low Pro, you've also got a pre-installed communication cable. So that's going to give you super accurate state of charge readout on the screen, and the GPS allows you to really accurately track speed and range. All this works together in a perfect ecosystem to give you real accurate data. So before I power up, I'm going to connect the communication cable by aligning the pins and tightening down the two collars on the plug ends. And then I'm going to plug directly into the 48-volt battery, the communication port on the 48-volt battery. Now I'm going to connect the SB120s, and you'll see the screen is starting to power up. When you're connected to power without the emergency kill switch on the magnetic key rest, you'll hear a beeping noise telling you that you need to insert the magnet key. Once I put the key on, I'm going to power up. You'll see the throttle's in neutral. It's at 0%. The speed's reading 0. Power is reading 0. I've got good voltage readout on the battery volt readout. And then I've got a 98% state of charge on this particular battery. As you'll notice, the top of the tiller has forward and reverse indicators. So I'm just going to test that we power up. I've got 100% in either direction. Once I've got this NT600 connected to 48-volt power and my screen is powered up, I'm going to go ahead and cycle through the menu options and just ensure that I've got all the settings where I want them. To access the menu, double-click menu on the left side of the screen. The first setting is time zone. I know that I'm at a -07. So once I've got that selected, I'm gonna hit menu again. And then I'm gonna go back into double-click, go back into the menu, and arrow down to the field that I want to select or change. The speed default unit is miles per hour. You also have a kilometers per hour option, but I'm gonna leave mine on miles per hour. I'm gonna hit the power button to select it. And then I'm gonna go down to max power. I'll select that. 3,000 is max, but if you wanted to tailor the motor to run at low power to get extra range, you can dial it back and it'll give it a watt consumption ceiling. So I like to get full power out of mine. I'm gonna leave it at 3,000. It's always gonna be there, and I'll show you another tip 2 fields down from here is the throttle sensitivity. Now, with the throttle sensitivity at the default setting, which is a 2, that's really good for light watercrafts like inflatable skiffs, such as the NS130. This is gonna give you a little slower ramp up in the throttle. If you were pushing a heavier boat, like a barge, a big skiff, a john boat, something like that with the NT600, I'm gonna go ahead and crank this all the way up to a 9. What that's gonna do is it's going to give me more thrust with less throw of the throttle. so you'll get a higher amount of thrust earlier on in the throttle range. One nice feature that you can choose to activate or not is the SOC Low Protect. Turning the SOC Low Protect mode on will take the motor down to half power once it senses that your battery state of charge is lower than 20%. There's two more layers to the menu. So if you double tap menu, you'll enter the menu settings. Single tap menu again, it'll get you to a point where you can select battery type, view your rated voltage, amp hour, and kilowatt hour capacities. Hit it one more time, and it'll take you to the throttle calibration screen. In the event you need to calibrate your throttle, you can hit the power button once you're in this screen setting, shift all the way into forward, press power, all the way to reverse when you receive that reverse prompt, power, and then back to neutral when you receive the neutral prompt, power one more time. It'll indicate that the calibration is complete. Thanks for watching Newport's Quick Start on the NT600 electric outboard. I hope this made your setup process seamless and easy before your maiden voyage on the water. If you have any other questions with regards to the motor, you can reference the manual or contact the support team at Newport. Have fun on the water, and remember, the way forward is electric.